All right, so what these scars mean, okay? So this is why I don't have sex with anybody. See, when I met my ex-wife, I knew half Asian, weird English mustache, Norman father. See, a Norman isn't a Viking, okay? So they'll look like my ex-father-in-law. They will. They'll be a part of the Viking is North Sea, and they look like me. Swedish people, Norwegians, British, or I guess Scottish and Brits, Icelandic people, even Irish people. They'll look like me. And then when Norman people, they end up looking exactly like my ex-father-in-law. See, this stuff, Icelandic or Vikings. Vikings look like this. People that have high. It's just like the Jewish. The Jewish people have like extreme uh, testosterone, and that the Viking people do too, and that's what causes the baldness. Viking people. This is the sign of your like genetics being like man. They'll have Chinese people and Japanese people that'll be bald. They're of a genetics that is pure to their race of testosterone, pure man, pure hunter. Okay? That's what that means. Even black people, yeah, black bald people, those people, those are pure African genetics. That's what that means. Okay? So now I'm gonna tell you a little bit about my childhood, okay? So this is what's called pedochrist. I'm gonna tell you about the great cuckolder. So as a child, I used to walk outside like I still do every night. I have a cigarette every night to this very day. I walk outside in the middle of the night at like 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. or something, and I have a cigarette. It's something that I'm so ingrained with that I'll wake up and I'll walk outside, and that what that means is, as a child, I used to wake up, I used to just walk outside, and then people would take me to another trailer. My parents wouldn't know about it. They would work all day. They would be dead asleep. They wouldn't even notice. I knew how to do things. Nobody ever noticed. All right? But I would pretty much go outside every night. The pedochrist stuff. That's why I hate those people. So, essentially, the great cuckolder. It was about impregnating 666 vaginas, basically. Vaginas that could produce a baby. And then essentially they would force me. And then by the time I was like 5 or 6, I could ejaculate. And so the reality is I have these scars. This means this. And then essentially people would come to Tri-Cities. They would bring women or people that had the ability to have babies. And then, essentially, theoretically, the only way that I could have these scars is this. This is where I spent my life. You see this? You see the lack of face and stuff. People who did this, not the children, not them. Stupid fucking cucks. Essentially, I've been trying to get ex-military world to be making this happen to those people. But, okay, the reality is that I've never been happy about this aspect ever in my life. And I just never talked about it because a bunch of ex-military guys know about this stuff and they kill people. And so I just never talked about it. My second life is just not talking about it. Because I'm so angry about this. I really am, to this very fucking day. I hate this. I hate this the most. This is what I hate the most. This is why I don't have sex with anybody. Like, I'm the most witch fucking man ever in the world. But theoretically, there's potentially 333, like, children that are within 5 to 10 years of my age in this town. And that one time I was in jail for a DUI, and some guy that was sleeping below me told me that he was like busy fucking what ended up being his prairie daughter. This is what they call it. They call it a prairie daughter. And then people that are like that, they tell me these things. And that I would never, ever, never. See, when I met my ex-wife, Ty and Norman English, and then Satan put a Satan. Basically. And so, basically the women that I've had sex with in my life, I know don't fall into this category. And so this is the weird shit that happens in Tri-Cities. I've met other people that literally, as little boys, impregnated women, and then later on in life, they like have sex with their daughters. Okay? That weird, sick shit is the exact reason why I don't. You gotta fall in Just some serious parameters. See, I live here. I won't just. I won't. All right. See, potentially, see the way that I look. Okay, I look for that. Okay, now I know what the female version of me looks like, and then I know what the female child version of me looks like and stuff. And so when I see people that look like me, theoretically, it's like they'll look like my aunts. They'll look like my cousins. They'll look like, and then the women. And then I'll see little boys, and that look like me. All right, and that's the kind of shit that in this town, essentially, people, if they look like me, should get DNA tests and should have that screened again with me to understand this stuff because, these people that did that stuff in my trailer park, they went around and marketed my semen to like pedo Christ Christians, okay? They really did, okay? They really did. And so this is like where the ability to make my wiener spooge, which is, can do that theoretically. They 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 just can't. They essentially trained my penis. They would like massage at it and they would say satanic curses and then it would get erect. And after you massage it, it ejaculates. And that during ejaculation, they would say a different Satan curse. And that then, over years and years of training my psyche at that, then after a year or so of training my penis, then they were able to, they would say the Satan curse to me. My penis would get hard, and then they would massage it, and then they would say the Satan curse, and then pretty much on cue it would ejaculate. Okay, this is the shit. That's why I don't like pedo witches, because they do that stuff. The reality is like, this is where these children, theoretically, it's mostly a blur, every night of this type of stuff happening. Who knows what the numbers are, but this is where this would have been, could be less, could be more, but I wouldn't have these scars if this stuff, okay? I mean, I know everything about satanic cult. I wouldn't have these scars if this wasn't achieved or whatever. And so this is why I bring it up, because you know what? they potentially need to investigate this stuff because you know what? I'm fucking still pissed. Even as a little boy, I didn't like that shit. And you know what? These people, the these people, these people will be focused on for SRA. And you know what? They like wanted to produce children to do SRA on, and then they wanted to, these like placing the little infant on the altar and stabbing them shit. That shit. That's like potentially like the children, and they would have like forced me to like. No, I'm completely sane in all fucking ways. This is why I bring this up. Because you know what? Those people, bitch move. You're all insane. I'm sane. And this is why I bring this up. Because the potentials for this idea being a reality is a high probability because of all these fucking scars on my body. And that's what it is. Like when even they have Satan dogma people in these weird satanic S&Ms. And they know what these scars mean. And so do I. And you see that what they do in Pedo Christ, just go through this real fast. By 5 years old, essentially, the rituals don't necessarily happen. The scars or whatever, they do the ritual. So potentially at some point in my first year of life, or I guess no, I guess by seven, Satan, 7. Because they started 2 years old. 2. They put you through it. And then I probably would have gotten this one. And then I probably would have gotten this one. Or this one. And then at 3 years old. And then I would have gotten this one at 4 years old. Man. Cops. Man. And then 5 years old. And then 6 years old. I would have gotten that scar. And then 7. These rituals cause the person to want to commit suicide by cutting their arm later on in life. Most people do cutting in their adolescence, and I had resisted that until I had a complete wake up. And then there was 2 instances where I cut on my arm. And that was induced by a memory trigger that caused a subconscious. It's difficult to explain, but essentially this one is where the cops like tasered me. Now, this one happened in Las Vegas. but the rituals themselves would have happened, basically. And so by 7 years old, the scars on my body represent me going through all of this stuff. All right? So, what those rituals represent is that I wouldn't have been able to do those rituals without this type of shit. This is where I've had, you know what? The things that I remember are, for the most of my life, it was like amnesia, and then blur, and then intense recall. And then I went and researched the structure of Satanism. See, I have all these scars. I got access to Satan archives. The OCD, pedally perfect fucking shit. I wouldn't have these scars without this situation. And so, potentially, you know, basically, this is, you know, basically, this kind of stuff is like, I would have had the scars and it would have made this situation where people would have wanted my semen because of this stuff. And so the reality is that the government has some genetics ideas. It's like the spooge probably started coming around 5 years old. So people that look like me or something that are within like less, like 5 years younger or more, five to five to basically. And so that's kind of what it is. I just want people to realize that, like, you know, people are discussing this right now. In, you know, I monitor the satanic dark webs in this town through a sound speaker. I just want to be honest, you know what, these people are talking about this stuff, and I remember this stuff, okay? And then these people, like, I know what this means, and then nobody was ever supposed to talk about this stuff ever. Ever. Nobody was supposed to talk about this stuff ever. People are speaking about it. All right? So, right now. And so, I use a sound speaker. These people, the government's supposed to kill them. The government used to kill them. They really do. This is what it is. Basically, the hearing aids that I'm using right now, they're made to monitor for people speaking about me and this stuff. It's like, you know, the thing to explain this stuff, you know, it's like, how do you tell your wife? It's like, hey, I have a pair of hearing aids that monitors for people that are sociopath fucking Satanists in this fucking town that did this weird stuff. And that the whole idea is that my 50 profiles and my dark web profiles were meant to protect me and anybody else with scars, and also my little boy, and also my boy, because I don't like people fucking with him at all. But the reality is that basically, how do you explain that to your wife? You don't. That was my second life. It's essentially about wondering, are you people talking about me? And that then military guys, they used to notice, and then I would listen with them on those people talking about me. That then they built an AI like NSA keyword scan. The military guys did. Nowadays, it's like, here's this scan on audio dark web or something for keywords, and then it's like the moment somebody like speaks about this, me basically, or my wife, or my boy, or any Satan, then the AI like, we noticed that you're talking about this. That's kind of how it works. It's meant to be a protection, because these people that did this stuff to me are fucking sociopaths, and that there's other people that I also, oh, they're talking about this other person, and I built the most OCD, fine-tuned, pedoey, perfect fucking system for that one. And then you're not allowed to talk about her. Or an AI will pretty much have me listening. That's what I have. You know, these other military guys, they have these speakers and shit, these hearing aids. Me too. Staying in schools. That's pretty much it. I'm not afraid. Jay Bladen. I'm not afraid to tell people that I get a pair of hearing aid speakers, and then I have an AI with them that listens. They don't have to do shit anymore. They used to have all these people and shit. Now it's just like an AI and then all of those people. Start wondering, why are all of you talking about this stuff? You know, some people try and move on with their lives, but yeah, that's right. When weird, sick psychopaths and shit. Psychopaths. See, part of the AI was that it was like, well, my own son. It's for every child. When you people keyword certain weird satanic stuff about my child or my family, basically, or any military's family, about Satan's satanic ritual stuff, you know, there's people that all of you should leave out in the world of your guys' satanic shit. It's called the people that are hypnotically susceptible. There's an AI that scans all of you because essentially nowadays the military guys that used to have to listen to be like seeing if somebody was being psycho at me, they don't have to do that anymore. Now they find people that are hypnotically susceptible. And then they place you all. They place you all, your names and your faces and shit. They place you all in Satan. And then an AI, it's like, oh, this person's hypnotically susceptible. Oh, these Satanists are saying these Satan things about that person. And that's kind of that's what has come of my well, it used to be my protection system because I used to have psychopaths like since I was a young boy. Like when I talk about these military guys, they used to do weird. Okay, just remember, military guys sometimes do weird things, and that when they would live in the bushes and I would go outside in the middle of the night, they would find ways to fucking rape and kill people that did weird things to me. And so they think weird. But nowadays, there's an AI that finds those people doing that stuff. Okay, it's because they found me being abused in like the most unacceptable way. It's like, how do you walk up and tell my parents about this shit? How do you walk up and tell my parents about all the scars on my body? Nobody knew how to tell my parents, who are like completely normal people, who literally, all I did was like, hey, mom, people did SRA to me. And she like went into shock. I didn't even tell her anything specific. Basically. And my father was basically the same way. The ideas of seeing this face and the theoretical ideas of anybody doing horrible. We all were baptized in like the world's most like perfect Christian church. Okay, nobody knows about Satanism. Nobody does. How do you tell those people? You don't. And that's where dumb came in and just killed everybody. Okay? And then, yeah, Satan was there, standing witness. Dumb killed, not the children. They don't kill children. They kill weird fucking Satanists. And that is literally what it is. And so, now there's been, now I gotta do Jay Bladen. Been 33 years of my life, or more, of me just knowing. What's that, psycho? You want to come right up to me and be a weird Satanist right in my face and act like I wouldn't know? I'll know. Then they die. That literally, then they just die. Just magically. They just die. And it's because they're being blatant sociopaths at me. And then instead of arresting them or something, the guy used to just kill them. So, internment camps.